Hello everyone, welcome to this Saturday edition, and today I'm going to be talking to you about a very critical aspect of your skilled migration application for Australia, and that is the English proficiency scores. So we'll quickly go through the tests that are accepted by the Department of Home Affairs. The first test is the IELTS test. Now, irrespective of whether you have an IELTS general training score or you have an academic score, both tests are eligible for skilled migration to Australia. And for a competent level English, you need at least 6 bands in all the 4 sections. A lot of clients do ask me, is it possible that we have 6 bands in 2 tests and maybe another 6 bands in another different test? So no, that is not possible. It all has to be in a single test score. So you cannot combine different test report forms to get the 6 bands in each section. The next one is the Pearson Test of English, that is PT, and we do know that only the academic version of PTE is acceptable for skilled migration to Australia, and you need at least 50 in each section, that is listening, reading, writing and speaking, in order to achieve a competent level English. Then comes the OET, that is the Occupational English Test. Now, a lot of people think that this is a test designed only, or let's say valid only for professionals who are associated with the medical industry. Well, that is true. That this is also true that anybody and everybody, even somebody who's, let's say, nominating the occupation of a marketing specialist or a civil engineer or a private tutor, can take the OET, and you need to achieve a level of B in each of the sections. And then comes a little unheard of test, that is the Cambridge CI Advanced Test, and you need to achieve a score of 169 in each. Now, very recently, the TOEFL, which was probably one of the first tests in terms of international standard testing, has been banned by the Department of Home Affairs. You heard that right. TOEFL, that is Test of English for a foreign language, is no longer being accepted by the Department of Home Affairs for skilled migration applications to Australia, and the test has been banned. Now, those people who have already taken before TOEFL before the 25th of July, they don't need to worry because their test stands valid. However, those applicants who had taken the TOEFL test after 25th of July 2023 will not be able to use this score, as it has been officially banned by Australia for any migration purposes. Let me also warn you here that we do see clients trying to buy scores, and they think that probably it's workable. But trust me, once your skilled migration application is received by the Department of Home Affairs, the first thing they do is run a verification check on the documents you've submitted and definitely your English proficiency score. And anybody who's trying to buy you into telling you that, you know, this score will be accepted if you buy it because see, you can see online your score shows and everything, trust me, they have better tools to get into the depth of your score and find out whether it is a genuinely obtained score or not. So please refrain from getting involved in any such activities, or I would say lures. Now, I'd like to also remind you here that unlike the usual validity of the score, which is 2 years, which is also very clearly written on the test report form, all English proficiency tests being used for Australia's skilled migration programs are valid for 3 years. So yes, some people do find it a little strange that when the test report form says that its validity is only 2 years, how can Australia be accepting it? Please go on to their website and check. You can see there, Australia gives a huge leverage to applicants by accepting the tests for 3 years instead of 2 years. Now, let me also tell you here that some tests such as the PTE and the IELTS also have come up with some modified versions of the test, such as the PTE has the home edition test and the IELTS has an IELTS indicator test. So these are tests where you can sit in the comfort of your home and take the test just to get an understanding of what your level is like. But these editions of the test are not acceptable for migration purposes. Therefore, if you've taken the PTE home edition or you've taken the IELTS indicator, please do not lodge your skilled migration application with these scores, because it is likely to be refused. Now also, I'd like to tell you here that anybody who's applying for Australia skilled migration needs to have at least a competent level score, that is 6 bands in each section of 50 in each. Along with that, the spouse or any dependent that is above the age of 18 years also needs to demonstrate some sort of English proficiency. So they need to demonstrate functional level English. Now, what is functional level English? Functional level English is basically getting, in terms of IELTS, achieving a score of overall 4.5. Now, mind you, I'm saying overall 4.5. I'm not saying 4.5 each. So you could be scoring like 3, 3.5 or even 2.5. And if your aggregate, your average score, the overall score happens to be 4.5, you are considered to be having functional level English. Or in terms of PT, it is an overall score of 30. So in case your spouse needs to take the test, this is what the requirement would be. Now, do the spouses of migrants necessarily have to take the test? The answer is no. It is mandatory for them to establish that they have functional level English, but it is not necessary for them to take the test in order to do that. How does that work out? I'll just let you know. Anybody, any applicant who is the primary applicant, an applicant whose spouse has a diploma after 10+2 or a bachelor's degree with English as the medium of instruction and examination is considered to be having functional level English and is exempted from taking any English proficiency test. In case the person does not have any qualification with English as medium of instruction, then the applicant's spouse will need to demonstrate functional English through one of the acceptable tests. And what about those who can neither demonstrate the functional English through the qualification or take the test, or have taken the test but have failed to get the achieved score, or sorry, the desired score? What is the option for them? So the option for them is that in case this happens, they don't need to worry. They can still go ahead and get the immigration, because the Immigration Department of Australia has a process in place wherein you pay your second VSC charge, which is around $4,700 something, and then you are given the classes in Australia through the AMEP program. So you can take up English classes in Australia by paying the fee beforehand in Australia, in India, before the visa is granted to you. Therefore, it cannot be said that it is mandatory for the spouse to take English proficiency test. However, they have to demonstrate whether they have English proficiency or they are able to undergo some sort of English training in order to be at a functional level English. Now lastly, I want to touch upon a very important point. What about the scores expiring after your visa application has been lodged? So a lot of clients ask that we've already lodged our visa application and our English proficiency score has now expired. It's older than 3 years. So do we need to take it again? The answer to that is no. Your English proficiency tests need to be taken no older than 3 years at the time of getting an invitation to apply for a visa. So let's say you get an invitation to apply for a visa today. After that, you have 60 days to put up your application with the DHA, and your English proficiency expires the next day. So you do not need to retake the test because your test was valid at the time you received your invitation to apply for a visa, and it's perfectly okay if your test has expired at the time of visa lodgement or after your visa has been lodged, and so on. So this is just about it. I'll be meeting you again next week with another topic. Until then, bye bye and take care.